what's up you guys? It's Mallory. Today I'm going to be telling you about the time that I moved 700 miles away from everything I ever knew with a guy that I'd been talking to for a month. It sounds really crazy, honestly. The longer I sit here and think about it, I'm like, oh my god, am I really that bitch? But I guess I was. And so basically, let me think of how it started. Me and this guy had been talking, I say that loosely, for probably like 3 weeks, maybe. We'd been hanging out for like a week straight. Like I just went over to his house one night, and then after that, like I just like didn't leave. Like he just wanted me to stay the night with him the whole time. So like I stayed the night with him like the last week of my Christmas break for like, I want to say like 5 consecutive days. So we were hanging out, spending like a lot of time together. Like we went from like not spending any time together to spending literally every single day together. And I was about to go back up to my apartment in college. So I was like, hey, like, you want to come up there with me? Like, I can bring you home whenever. You can just come chill with me. Like, do you want to come with me? I don't even really know why I invited him up to stay with me in my apartment in Indy, but I thought it was a great idea. And he is just like me, like he's really spontaneous. And so he was like, yeah, I'll come with you, like come pick me up. So I come and pick him up, and this is like the first weekend of January. I go back up to college, and he's just like chilling in my apartment, like everything's cool, we're just hanging out, like doing our own thing, whatever. And I had 2 roommates at the time. So we were hanging out, everything was like fine or whatever, and my roommate just started pulling like a bunch of bullshit and like wasn't okay with this guy staying up there with me for whatever reason. Like we didn't bother anyone, I had my own bathroom, so like he would literally just stay in my room the whole time, and then like I would go make him food or something, and like we were just hanging out in my room mainly. But she had like such an issue with it. I want to say like mid-January, things like really started to hit the fan. Like my roommate, her sorority sister was the office manager of our apartment. She started running to her sorority sister, like just talking a bunch of shit, making up a bunch of stuff about me and him, saying that he was just overall a big problem, which he definitely wasn't. If anything, he was helping a lot, because those lazy bitches did not want to do anything around our apartment. And he took the trash out like 3 times a week. So I am laying in bed. We're like, it's like 9 a.m. We hadn't even gotten up for the day. And I hear a loud ass banging on my door. And I'm like, what the hell could this be? Like, who thinks they have the right to be knocking on my door this loud, this early in the morning? And I hear, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm the office manager. You really need to answer the door. I said, go away. I just woke up. I'm not talking to you. You can call me professionally, but I'm not going to just talk to you as you're banging on my bedroom door. How inconsiderate. And she's like, fine, we can do it through the bedroom door, and starts saying all this stuff. And basically, to sum up that story, my bitchy roommate got it where like Keenan had to like get out of the apartment, like leave the premises in 24 hours from this time that this bitch was banging on my bedroom door until the end of the day. And so we're like, oh my god, this is so dramatic, but alright, like we can figure this out. Keep in mind, this is still mid-January. We started hanging out at the end of December. So this all happened within like 2 or 3 weeks of us hanging out. And we still didn't even really know each other that well. Like we were just going with the flow, hanging out and like learning more about each other. Everything happened like so fast, which is crazy. Like looking back now, everything happened so fucking fast. But I mean, it worked out for both of us. We're really happy. So we leave or whatever, and we go back to our hometown, because he's from the same town as me. We go back to our hometown, and we're like, shit, what do we do now? Like, I'm paying like $700 a month to live in this apartment where I'm miserable, where I hate my roommates, I hate my life, I don't like my college that I'm going to. And we're like, what do we do? So we end up going back up to Indy like 3 days later, just so I could work a shift, because I was working at Hooters at the time. Literally just so I could work like a 5-hour shift and make some cash and then like come back or whatever. And I think I went into work at like 4, and literally by 5:30, I am waiting on tables and I get a phone call, and it's him, and he says, "I'm on 1%. It's snowing outside and security just kicked me out of your apartment. I don't know where to go." We're in downtown Indianapolis. He doesn't know hardly anyone in Indianapolis. It's snowing, first of all. It's literally 30 degrees outside. He didn't have a winter coat on. I was working. He didn't have a car up there. We literally had no idea what to do. I had just started working at this job, so I didn't want to be like that bitch that's like, "Oh, like, I know you just hired me, but like, I really need to leave early." Like, jobs don't like that. I end up talking to my manager, and I'm like, "Please, please, please let me leave." Like, I explain the situation. They're super understanding. I end up leaving, and at this point, Keenan's phone had already died. I had to search around for him. I ended up finding him, whatever. He was like snuck in this other apartment building and was just sitting in the lobby trying not to freeze. And this was all because my roommate was so crazy. But I ended up picking him up, and I'm like, "Hey, like, I gave you my house key, and like, I need that so I can go get our stuff so we can just go back to our hometown, I guess." Like, keep in mind, I was driving back and forth from Indianapolis to our hometown, 2-hour trips like 3 times a week, just because my roommate was trying to ruin my life. But so I'm asking him for my key. I'm like, "Hey, like, can I have my key?" And he's like, "Actually, like, security took that from me, and they told me to tell you to call them whenever you got back here so you could get it from them." And keep in mind, like, living in an apartment building that's just college students is so chaotic. The security literally hates us because we throw huge parties, we're loud, we're obnoxious, we break things, etc. Like, if I was an adult taking care of these college students, I would be like, "Ew, no, I hate you guys." Anyways, we end up calling security. We're sitting in the parking lot waiting for my keys. I am not even being dramatic when I tell you that we're sitting here. Someone knocks on the passenger side window of my car, and we're like, "Who the hell is knocking on our window? Like, we don't talk to anyone up here. We talk to each other, and that's it." Someone starts punching my window, literally punching the fuck out of my window. And we're like, "Oh my God, like, are we getting jumped right now?" And Keenan rolls down his window, like, just like this much so we can talk to them. And they start, like, yelling at us. One guy, like, sketchily, like, has his hand in his pocket. It looks like he's, like, holding on to a gun. We're like, "What the fuck is going on?" He punches my mirror so fucking hard that it, like, flies off. And I'm like, "Oh my God." And at this point, I was just, like, in shock. Like, I didn't know what to say or do. And Keenan goes, "So you're gonna drive away?" I was like, "That's such a good idea. I probably should." So I drove away. I drove all the way back to our hometown without even getting my apartment key. It was like sleeting outside. The roads were really icy, and it was dark. I can't see anything when I drive at night. It was miserable. So we drive 2 hours in these terrible conditions, get back home, and we're like, "What the hell?" Like, our evening has been insane. So we end up getting, like, maybe like 3 days later, I go back up there, and I'm like, "You know what? Like, I've had enough. I hate my life. I hate my roommates. I hate my college. I'm going to do something about it." So I end up dropping all of my classes in Indianapolis, trying really, really hard to find someone to take over my lease, because my roommate would literally contact the person I was trying to move my lease over to, and just to talk shit about me and make it look like they didn't want to live there. And so it was this really long, drawn-out process, but eventually I got my room sublet, and I ended up enrolling in classes online. So I'm still taking classes online, and I have my room sublet, and I go to, like, sign everything over. I'm so excited to get the hell out of this place. The apartment building literally charged me $1,800 to move out of there because of my roommate, because she pulled her strings to make things terrible for me and Keenan for whatever reason. And so I pay that. I'm like, oh my god, that's so annoying, but I pay it. I'm like, whatever, like, I'm gonna clean my hands with this situation. I'm over it. So at this point, this is probably like January 20th, January 25th, maybe. And we're like, where could we go? Like, I hate my hometown. He hates our hometown. There's nothing there for either of us. And he's like, do you want to go to Baton Rouge? I'm like, yeah, sure. So at first it was kind of just like, oh, like, you're not going to move to Baton Rouge. Like, he would say that to me like 3 times a week. And I'm like, excuse you, if I want to do something, I'm going to. So I called a bunch of people, and literally we messaged this guy on Facebook. And we're like, hey, like, you look pretty cool. I saw that you have a room open in your house. Like, is it cool if a couple comes, like me and Keenan, and we tell him about ourselves? And they're like, yeah, like, you guys sound really dope. You guys should totally come. So we end up driving 700 miles in one day. I told my parents the morning that I was leaving to move across the country. I told them that morning. I was like, oh yeah, like, by the way, I'm moving to Baton Rouge. And they were all like, what the hell? Like, you have been talking to this guy for a month and he's taking you across the country. I was like, yeah, sorry, Mom. It's crazy to think about. It's crazy to say. Me and Keenan were talking for a month. I moved across the country with him. We've been living here since the beginning of February, and things have been literally the best they've ever been. And it's so crazy to say that I knew this guy. I mean, like, I knew him, I knew of him. We used to talk in like 2015, but like, I really only started getting to know him when we were in Indianapolis for those like 3 weeks. So like, in 3 weeks, I got to know this guy, I got really close with this guy, and then I moved across the fucking country with him. I sound psychotic, but this is a message for everyone out there. Just fucking go with it. If you have a feeling that things are going to be okay, and you have a situation, you have everything settled, you have everything worked out and all the details planned out, what the fuck are you going to lose? We're so young. I'm still in school. I still have a job. I'm literally doing the best I've ever done. And I just moved across the country with someone I've only known for a month. That's my story. Basically, go with it. Go with your gut. Do things on a whim. Thanks for watching.